It's time for the first story. For the first story of the evening. If any of you have heard of the TV show The Last Comic Standing, one of my favorite comedians is John Heffron. He's not really super mainstream or anything, but he showed up on a couple of seasons of that, and I always just really liked his humor. And one of his bits, one of his one-liners, he says, "Nothing good ever happens when one kid says to another, 'Hey, let's build a ramp.'" Nothing good happens. Nothing good happens. This is one of my such instances. Let's build a ramp. Now, I'm not really the sort of person who did a lot of daredevil-y things outside. This is the summer of 2000. So I am preteen status. I'm like 11, 12 years old at the time. Probably 11. This probably is the year 2000. We had the house that we grew up in. And we have like the city block, and we lived like on the corner here. Like if you come up like my thumb road, come up, our house is the last one here before turning onto this road. We had bikes. We would go out to just ride bikes because in addition to just wanting to play video games all the time whenever my mother was like, please be outside and not in the house for the love of God, we would ride bikes. And one day, we found an old piece of wood in our backyard. Calling it wood would perhaps be a little bit too generous. So we had some cinder blocks and some wood, and we naturally decided that we were going to build a ramp in our front yard. Like we would come up the road and we would veer like into our driveway, but like get into the grass in our yard and go off this ramp and just get sick air. We had lots of good fun with that. We have got lots of good fun with that. I don't know how this ramp didn't break because it had the consistency of like a Pop-Tart. And there are a couple of things that you need to know. About our house. There had just been a repaving done in our neighborhood. So there was a lot of fresh gravel and there was a lot of loose gravel in front of our driveway. There's a lot of loose gravel in front of our driveway. We also had two cars parked in our driveway. And so you come up the driveway, and if you turn in too much, you hit the cars. But if you don't turn in enough, you hit the mailbox. So you want to dodge the cars in the mailbox, and you want to get into the yard where the ramp is. We got loose gravel there. Also, there is a Tetris, exactly. Also, there was like a not a power line, but like one of those metal cables that like holds one of the telephone poles up and it goes into the ground. I have no idea what these poles are for, or what these like metal, like almost like metal rope, these metal cables are for. If anybody knows, let me know. But they're just it separates the yard from the one in the corner, the front yard. Support ropes. Yeah, like support ropes. They're just in our yard. And like we have accidentally clotheslined ourselves on these things more times than is okay. Just absolutely self WWE clothesline ourselves on these, not with bikes. Thankfully yet, not with bikes. There are a ton of hazards in this yard, and we decide that we're just going to put the ramp in the middle of our front yard. We're doing this ramp without incident for probably an hour or two. Just me and my brother, and the sun is starting to go down. We're going to go in for dinner, normal kids playing in the summer type of stuff. And I decide that I am done. My brother decides that he wants to give this one more go. He rides his bike all the way to the end of our street. That's how he did it. And he can run up the street. And it's a little bit darker. Now, just notably. He dodges the cars. He doesn't get hit by the gravel. He comes up into the driveway, and immediately I hear hollow metal crashing. And my brother leaves his bike into the air. If you're the sort of person who doesn't care about whether or not you wear a helmet, whether on a bike or a motorcycle or whatever, they care. Leaves his bike, gets air, folds up into our yard. It's just his sad little brother 9-year-old body just in the yard, just crash, left his bike, folds up in the street, or sorry, not in the street, in the yard. He doesn't land in the road. He lands in the grass. He hit our mailbox so hard that he ripped it out of the ground. Our mailbox left, or there was a chunk of dirt attached to the bottom of this mailbox, and just pulled the entire thing out. I run over to my brother, and he stands up, or sorry, he sits up, and he has no idea what has just occurred. He has no idea what has just occurred. He wasn't concussed or anything, but he sits up, and he's like, "Where's our mailbox, dude?" He hit the mailbox so hard that he pulled it straight out of the ground. Kids are invincible if you don't acknowledge it. It's true. My mom was not happy. So the next story. I'm gonna need Bauer Mom's help with this. Because here's the thing. I eat basically everything. There are a few things that I don't super care for, but I'll still eat it. I eat just about everything. I like lots of different food. You know, I'm a garbage disposal. Just give me all the food. Doesn't matter. As long as it's not spicy, as you've seen. As long as it's not spicy. But there's one food that I positively cannot stand because I find it disgusting. This food is behind me. It is olives. I find olives absolutely nasty. If you are somebody who likes olives, I want to know why you want a snack that tastes like the Pacific Ocean. Why do you like that? I hate olives. They're so nasty. Bring us back to winter of 2019. Bauer Mom, I need you to tell me what the thing is that's like the bread with the stuff on it. Like the little bread with the stuff on it. There's a fancy Italian word for that, and I don't know it. It's not focaccia. That's the wrong word. Focaccia is another delicious treat that she makes. If you like olives, what's your problem? Bauer Dad. Correct. I enjoy olives. They have that perfect earthy taste to them. Doodlebopped. I am thrilled for you. I completely disagree. Prosciutto. Oh, empanada? Anyway, food. I used to volunteer in the sound booth for our church on Sundays. I was in part of the technical team for that. And every Christmas, one of the families hosts a party for the band and the tech team. They always have a spread of food, and there's like a gift exchange and stuff, and it's a very, very nice time. This one was not nice. I have a plate of stuff, and I am the sort of person that I will just grab food that looks good with reckless abandon. I mean, Bauer Mom will attest to this, that on multiple occasions, we'll be at some party or some gathering with food, and I'll grab something and I'll eat it, and she'll be like, "Oh, what's that?" And I tell her I don't know. It looked tasty, so I put it on my plate and I put it in my mouth. That's the kind of person I am. And so I grab one of these little bread things that's got like some meat stuff on it. As the host of this party, who's responsible for the spreads, comes around and is like, "Oh, how is that thing that you're eating? Do you like it?" I had just shoved it into my mouth, this entire thing into my mouth. And it was not an empanada. It was a little piece of bread with olive paste all over, just ground up olive. A tartlet? I don't know. I'm hesitant to call it a tartlet because the word tart evokes positive emotions, and that's not correct for what happened. I swore it was covered dough, and that's why you were confused. It was a little bread, the little piece of crunchy bread that had what appeared to be just like a little meat thing on it. No, it was ground up olive paste. And I shoved this whole thing in my mouth, and I was eating it. And she was like, "Oh, what'd you think?" And I asked her, I kind of covered my mouth a little bit. I was like, "Oh, what's in this?" She said, "Oh, it's olives. It's olives. Isn't it great?" For those of you who saw the start of the stream, where I had the atomic wings from Wingstop, and I was getting to 5 and 6, and I was really struggling to swallow these things. I had a much harder time swallowing the monstrosity. I'm very grateful for the party. I'm very grateful for the food. I got tricked. It was very painful. Here we go. First date. First date. For those of you, Bauer Mom is ready. She's at her phone, ready to type in correct all the wrongdoings. Alexa, play First Date by Blink 182. For those of you who are here for the inaugural July Storytime stream, you heard the story about when I first met Bauer Mom in person. The TLDR of this is that the team that she was on, fast forward, don't do me like this. They did you like this. I am recounting their slander, okay? Bauer Mom says, don't do me like this. That was October 2012. Let's fast forward to January, February 2013. In the time since, I had told myself, okay, she's not interested. She invited me to a thing, but then ignored me, so it's fine. She's not interested. It's okay. It's okay. It's whatever. It's not a big deal. We still interacted on Tumblr as we did, as we did before. Here's the thing about friendships with other people. Bread Boy. We'll get to Bread Boy. Bread Boy is me, by the way. Here's the thing about having friendships with other people is whenever you talk about or discover shared interests, you tell your friend, oh, we need to do that sometime. It's a very normal thing that happens. Over the course of a couple of months, Bauer Mom and I had built up such a list. I was going to bake bread for her. She had General Tso's chicken, and I think there was even another meal that she wanted to make for me. We were going to swap movies. We were going to watch movies that the other one had recommended. At some point around the turn of the year, I decided we should hang out. We should do these things. Here's the story of our first date. Proceeds to explain how friends work. Righto. I proposed this idea that we should hang out for a day and we should do these things. Movie swap, food swap, hang out, have a good time, what have you. And this is where I introduce a new character to the story whose name is Ashley. She is a mutual friend of Bauer Mom and myself on Tumblr. They're like besties. Ashley is also friends with me. Ashley is asking me the night before about all these things that we're gonna do on this day. He did not food swap. Fool suckered me into coming over and cooking for him all day. No wonder he wifed me. Got him. I tricked her with my wily charms. I'm explaining the day to Ashley and she says, oh, is it a date? Here's the thing. I originally had not intended for this to be a date. However, I did want to date her, and so I'm stuck in kind of a weird spot because I know I had not intended for this to be a date. However, I also believe that saying no, it's not a date is a little dishonest. If you understand where I'm going with that. It's a little dishonest. Yes, and Bauer Mom is giving her parallel take in the chat. Like a mature adult ready for marriage, she did recon to decide if this was a date. And so I told Ashley, I was like, look, don't tell her that it's a date, because I don't want her to go all Brittany on me. Brittany is Bauer Mom's name, by the way. Brittany. The real true Brittany is Bauer Mom. I told Ashley, I said, look, don't tell her, don't say anything, because I don't want her to go all Brittany on me. Timbercon, accurate response for that situation. She, yes, true, no exaggeration. And Ashley sold me out within minutes, which I expected. I expected this to happen. What I did not expect is that bullets have left guns slower than Ashley told Brittany about. Yes, you have the receipts. Can you believe the cojones? I have the receipts. And another thing that I didn't mention a second ago is not stood up at the dance and embarrassed in class, Brittany. Correct. Is that also I knew that Ashley would tell Brittany whatever I said. More than being found out, I kind of wanted it to be a date. kind of wanted it to be a date. We spend our day together. We watch Tangled. We watch Brave. We ate bread. We had General Tso's chicken. We probably went to Starbucks. She was cool as a cucumber. She was cool as a cucumber. And I started to doubt. Like I said, I was certain that Ashley sold me out. I was certain. But by the end of the day, I was starting to doubt. No, I made you bread, honey. I made you bread. Remember you were dragging me because I almost forgot the flour in the bread? Almost forgot the flour. It was a disaster. It was not olive paste bread. Bauer Mom says, no, that was a different day. All right, apparently I'm just wrong, but the go all Brittany on me comment was accurate. He looked into my eyes and got lost. What can I say? Listen, she made me muffins, liar. I drank tea at the time, but we spent the day together. The point that I'm making is we spent the day together. She was cool as a cucumber, and I was starting to maybe doubt, did Ashley actually not betray my trust? As it turns out, she absolutely did, because I'm driving her home. I'm letting her out of my car with the door open. She turns back into the car. Makes eye contact with me and says, Ashley told me everything, bye. She slams the door and runs into the house. And that was our first date. Here's the partial continuation to that. There's a bit of an epilogue to that story, because you know that there's January and there's February. I put 2 months there on purpose. Yes, Bauer Mom absolutely nailed it. I was none the wiser. I was starting to doubt a little bit. We continued on in this way for about 4, 5, 6. It's closer to 6 weeks, because we had a date on Valentine's Day. And I will not tell the director's cut version of this story. There are just a couple of high points that I want to hit because it ties this all together pretty nicely. At this point, Bauer Mom and I had gone out probably anywhere from 8 to 10 times. This was Valentine's Day. This was February 14th, 2013, Valentine's Day. I had a very special day planned because I was going to ask Bauer Mom if she wanted to go steady. Just kidding. That's not the terminology I used because this isn't the 50s. That was the day where I was going to officially ask Bauer Mom if she would like to be my girlfriend. And so I bought a dozen red roses, each corresponding to a reason that I thought she was super wonderful and lovely, and why I would like to be in an official relationship as well. The day was planned. I got roses and I picked them up from the florist. I got a dozen red roses and I got a yellow rose, because yellow is her favorite color. I got a yellow rose for her with all the reasons. And here's what happened. I take the roses. I'm splitting them up throughout the day and I'm giving them to her at various points throughout the day. So I need them to be split from, I didn't get a vase or anything. The florist thought I was super weird. I was like, no, I don't want a vase. Just rip them apart a little bit. So I get back to my car and I open the trunk and I've got I don't even remember if I had note cards with them or not. I don't think I did. But I think I had a cheat sheet for what rose means what thing. So I'm spreading out the roses and I'm setting them down in the trunk, but I'm using both hands. So I set my keys down in the trunk. I don't need to tell you what happens after that, because you know what happens after that. I'm frustrated. I'm losing it. I'm over an hour late now from the time that I said I was going to pick her up. And again, Bauer Mom just cool as a cucumber. And I was like, this is good. We can salvage the day. And we did. We did salvage the day. I gave her lots of roses. And at the end of the night, I was like, hey, I'd like for you to be my girlfriend. And she was into it. I got to make sure she's not texting me in the middle of this. Yeah, super chill. 10 years later, super chill is not anything anyone would use to describe Bauer Mom. However, she was very chill in this moment. She's really chill in crisis. Truly chill in crisis. And you would never guess that from her. And as it turns out, whilst I was being delayed by the locksmith, she was making me a Oreo cream cheese, an Oreo cheesecake, which she was super behind on. So the fact that I was late because the locksmith actually allowed her to finish the cheesecake for me for Valentine's Day. And at the end of the night, we became boyfriend, girlfriend, and a year later we got married. Boom.